Hi Tarot friends, it's Jade here with Tarot Your Truth, and I'm here with another quick video, or hopefully fairly quick. Try to keep on point if I can. My channel is all about sharing my tarot journey with you, and with the hopes of, if it can help someone else on their journey, that's absolutely fabulous. But I wanted to say thank you so much for the people who have subscribed and who do come back and see me or watch my videos. I have just hit 105 subscribers as of today, which to me is just absolutely mind-boggling. I realize that that's a small channel in compared to in comparison to some people, but to be honest with you, I started this channel again just to share my journey, and also just to record it for myself, so that when I come back, after I have a little bit more experience, I can sort of see how far I've come. I had a boss once that said, if you, in regards to report writing, that you should always be learning something. And, if you go back to a report that you wrote 3 years ago, or even 1 year ago, you should want to puke. And that really just goes to show that, ideally you're learning with every new experience, and learning from your mistakes, as well as from the things that you are researching. And so, that's kind of where this is coming from. We kind of forget when we start on something new, we kind of forget just how far we have come. We don't take the time to really look back at how far we have come, and just how much we have learned. It sort of becomes second nature at some point. So this was really why I started my channel in July, I want to say. So it's been 3 months. So I'd like to say again, the fact that other people actually want to watch this as well, with all of the filming issues and the sound issues and the lighting issues that I have had, and people still come back. Two things. One is, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. It's been amazing. The support here in this community has been absolutely fantastic. And, so thank you to everyone who does come visit. Thank you to those who put out their own content as well, because I have been able to learn and share my journey with you. And I can't tell you how appreciative I am of that. And thank you to all those who care enough to take a minute to actually join in the conversation, post comments, and converse with me. That's really the second reason why I started this, was just to sort of grow a community for myself that I could share my journey with and talk tarot with, because I don't really have anyone in my real life that I can talk with about the tarot. So this, now that that's sort of done, and I'm we're 4 minutes in, and I'm still gushing over my 100 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone, every one of you. But I also thought at the same time I would do a bit of a September wrap up. I'll talk about decks that I have worked with, decks that have arrived in the past month, and what I've been working on over the past month. So decks that I have worked with. To be honest, I haven't worked a ton. The list, there's about 5 decks on that list. I haven't done a ton of actual tarot, of actual readings this month, but I have done some. So the first one that I will talk about is my Art History for Past Lives tarot. I watched this. I watched an unboxing and a sample reading by the lovely Lady Knight of Avalon. And she, if you don't watch her or subscribe to her, please do, because she's very lovely, and I very much enjoy her content as well. Anyways, when I saw this, I knew I had to get it. And previous to that, I was not really all that interested, or didn't really know too much about the whole past life thing. And so this was something that I became, through her video, and then also the one from Kelly in Truth and Story, I became very interested in learning a little bit more about this. So I purchased the deck. I'm not going to go through the whole walkthrough here, because I do have a walkthrough, although I haven't posted it yet, because I was kind of waiting to find out, or waiting to really finish working through the workbook. And I'll show you what that looks like. So this is the book that comes with it, and this is really the kind of the little white book, I guess, that goes through each card. It tells you about the art, which is lovely. I love when, it really bothers me when we have decks with pre-existing art, but there's nothing about the specific art or even the artist sometimes, so that you can learn more about it. So I love that this does this. And then, it tells you, about the root energy, the past life bit, some alternate interpretation. So if it's not really to do with the past, a position that tells you about the past life, maybe the location or the timing, then you can also read it as just an RWS style, just a regular tarot deck. So that is that. But the workbook that comes with it is fabulous. And that is this. It's very large. 21 Days to Understanding Yourself, the Past Lives Workbook. Sorry, it is very large here. And both the deck and this are by Red Orchid Publishing, which is the publishing house, actually by the deck creator as well, who is Melanie Eva Henson. And let's see if I can get that in here so that if anyone is looking for it. Sorry, I've got a few things. Melanie Eva Henson. And I'll try to link the site as well. In any case, they kind of takes you through. I don't want to go through because I have actually filled in some of this. I didn't do this protection or clearing worksheet. I didn't feel the need to, but there's pre-assessment that walks you through, a past life or one past life that has major influences on your current circumstances, and then takes you through how to deconstruct it and how to apply it. And then we go through the different spreads. I think there's one for every day for 21 days. And I started this a couple of weeks ago. It was right before I went on holiday, so I only got through 2 days, and I have to start with day 3. So I will come back in about 3 weeks and sort of talk about my experiences with that. What I can say so far is I've done, just did a regular reading using the spread that came with in the little white book. My owl's on his side, and that was kind of freaky. I'll be honest with you. And the first couple of readings that I've done with the workbook as well have been very interesting. So I'm looking forward to working with that. That'll be, something I'll be working on for the next 3 weeks. So I'll get through that. So that was the first deck that I worked with, although not too often. My next deck that I worked with is my Soprafino and Ancient Italian, and I just realized I don't have that. Maybe I could reach over here. Okay. I'm not going to open it. It's in here. This is my Soprafino. I did take this with me. This is the Il Meneghello version. And I did take this with me when I went to Napa. And I did show that on that video. The Ancient Italian. I was a little shocked actually that I took it because, you know, this is so precious to me, and I'm not sure that I can. It is possible to replace it, of course it is. It's not a cheap deck, and particularly with the shipping. And, you know, I kind of took a chance, I guess. The feeling that I had when I saw this was, oh my God, this is one of the pieces of my soul deck, to quote Kelly from Truth and Story. And it's kind of the reason why I purchased the Ancient Italian deck, which I do not have here. That one is in my room. But yeah, so I've been working with those. The ancient Italian deck from Lo Scarabeo is much more easy to replace, which is why that one will be mostly my carry around deck. And I did, well, okay, I'll talk about decks that have arrived later. Okay, my next deck that I worked with is my Marshmallow Marseille, and once again, was not very prepared for this. That one is also in my room and in my bedroom, and I have not. I didn't bring that out. I only did a couple of readings with it, mostly for or on behalf of a friend. So that's you know, I haven't done too much, but I do want to get more. I do want to get more into the Ancient Italian decks and the Marseille, which sort of flowed from there. And so I will be working more with that one in the future. But the next deck that I did work quite a bit with, and again, I'm not going to open these just for the sake of time, but this is my Zombie Tarot. So I took this one with me to New Orleans. I did work with it a little bit before I went, but I did just receive this one in September. So, oh no, end of August actually. And I took it with me. I only took 2 decks with me to New Orleans because I really wanted to be able to focus on just 1 or 2 decks rather than having, you know, 5 with me. So this one I had quite a long travel day, both on the way there and on the way back, including a 3-hour layover in New York, and a 2-hour layover in Detroit when I was on my way down. And so I was able to work with this deck, really get to do some exercises with it, and get to know it quite a bit better over the past week and a half. So I'm going to continue working with that deck this month as well. My next deck that I worked with, and not very much either, but it is one that will be making its way into rotation this month, and that is my Dark Mansion Tarot. I won't take that out again. Sorry, I haven't, my ribbons are just kind of like this because I just did the video for my spooky decks. So I haven't redone the ribbons. One thing I've learned, by the way, if anyone does this, makes the wraps that I learned to make from the lovely Rochelle at Amethyst Ascension. I made a whole buttload of these things. Was on the so because I made a whole buttload of them, and actually let me see if I can just show you right now. Hopefully I won't make anyone too dizzy. But anyway, there are some of my decks, and you'll see there's quite a few wraps. The decks are too deep there. Okay, hopefully I won't make everyone dizzy. So because I made quite a few, and my memory is not the greatest with my migraines, especially when I have a migraine. And so to help me remember, I was trying to find different ways of figuring out which deck is in what wrap. So I did experiment with embroidering, had some some success with that. This one was just the very first one, which is really like, anyways, and I had a timing issue on my sewing machine that I needed to fix as well. But in any case, you can see it, you know what it is. And so I did have some success. I had much better success once I fixed the timing issue. And I'm just looking over to see if I have the deck. I can't reach it very easily. So anyway, that is one option. The problem is that when you get to thinner ribbons, that doesn't really work as well. Or at least I didn't like it. I think this would, if you were going to do it, I think this probably works the best, is to actually embroider on something of quite a different color, and then attach that to your main ribbon if you have a wider ribbon. What I did on another deck to try, so my ribbons are actually very long. So I did that purposely so that I could try a couple of these things out, and if they didn't work, then I could just snip them off. And I have done that on a couple of decks. So the first thing I tried actually was using a marker, and I'm just trying to see if I can find one. I was just looking at one a minute ago. Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, using a marker, you can kind of see it here. This one actually looks good compared to some of them. So you can clearly read that, but you can also see that the marker does bleed. And so this one looks great. Actually, this is not even a marker, this is a pen. The one that it's sort of one of those like soft gel pens, which is why it bled. But when I used a thin marker, actually it's very, this is the back of one, so it's not really like that, but it bled so much that you can't read. It's completely just a big blur. So I wouldn't recommend using a marker. This was another gel pen that I tried. Again, it's legible. It's not too bad, but it's not great. So I'm gonna find a different way of doing this. And I think what I might do is actually, I've gotten completely off topic, haven't I? Sorry. But what I might do is actually just embroider it right on the wrap. Once I'm sure that the specific decks will stay in those wraps, I'm just going to embroider it right on the wrap along the edge, and then that way that will be much easier to see, because I do store them this way. I generally store them this way with the bow up on the top so it doesn't get squished. And so that way it will make it easier for me to see at a glance. Anyway, to go back to the decks that I have used, this one here that I've been waving around but not shown is my Dark Mansion Tarot. Haven't used this one yet too much, but it is coming into rotation this month. I've used it for a couple of readings for a friend of mine, and wow, they were spooky accurate, which was awesome. It was great, but it's definitely going to be coming back into rotation, because that's it's kind of like the initial taste, right? Or chips, you can't have just one. Well, I can work with it just that one time, so it's definitely coming back. The other one that I've worked with a little bit, again, not much, mostly in doing the deck modification, is my Pagan Otherworlds. I'm so happy that I have this deck. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. But mostly I haven't done any real readings with it other than just the deck interview, just as a kind of a trial, and doing the modifications. But again, that will be coming into rotation very soon. Another deck that I have worked with, and that I have worked with quite a bit this month, is I had the urge to go back to my roots. My roots not being that long again, or that deep just yet, but my Tarot de la Nuit deck. My Tarot de la Nuit deck, and I won't take that out because I've shown that a bunch of times. But this deck has a special place in my heart, so I did work quite a bit with that one. I did not work with any oracle decks this month, or in the month of September, but I'm planning on trying to incorporate some oracle, like an oracle card, into my readings, and I'm sort of researching some ways to do that. So, okay, moving along, the decks that did arrive in the past month. So I do have a few here. Some of these I had ordered, sort of months ago, and oh boy, and arrived, and others I actually clicked. Sorry, I'm just reaching over while I'm talking about this. But others I sort of clicked on while I had some insomnia, or for whatever reason. But anyway, so I had a few decks arrive. So the first one is my my ETA, so the Emerging Toronto Artists tarot deck, which I did do a walkthrough of, and I'm sorry, I didn't prepare very well for this, and so I don't have it with me right now. Maybe I do, actually. So that was one. I haven't worked with it too much just yet. I probably will work with it this winter, but in any case, sorry, I can't reach it right now, so I'm not going to show that. My next one that arrived is my second copy of my Ancient Italian tarot deck, and again, I'm going to see if I can reach over and grab that one. My little book here, but I don't think I can. I think that's in a different room, so apologies. So that one was an interesting one because if you know the Ancient Italian tarot deck, so it is based on the same deck as the Sopraffino from Il Menegallo, and I purchased the Ancient Italian on Amazon. When it was on Amazon, I saw that there were actually 2 listings for this deck, and the prices were different. The first time I ordered it, I ordered the version that was the higher cost, because I was looking at the reviews, and the reviews on the lower cost one were not as nice as the reviews on the higher cost one. So I figured, okay, well, maybe there is a difference either in the card quality or whatnot. So that's the one that I had ordered, is the higher cost one. And I've been thinking about that particular deck, and I've talked before about how this and the Sopraffino are one of my again, another pieces of my soul deck. And I did want one to carry around in my purse, and to have one that would be just, wouldn't have to worry about the Sopraffino getting wet or damaged by the Il Menegallo version. So I ordered a second copy. And this time, the second copy that I ordered was the cheaper version. And there's no difference. I don't know why. There are 2 different versions of the Ancient Italian on Amazon. Why one's a higher cost and one is substantial, like almost half the price. I can't tell any difference in the cardstock or the coloring. Everything else seems the same. So I don't know. Same box. In any case, then I also got my 1 JJ Swiss. I received that one. Again, I ordered that one about a month ago. It came from overseas, so it took over a month to get to me, which is fine. I'm super happy to have that one. And then I received my Handel tarot, which is great as well. This one here, oh no, did it arrive in October? Sorry, I'm not going to talk about this one. This is my, I was thinking that maybe my Solabusca arrived in September, but it did not. It arrived in October. So I'll bring that one back out. It actually did arrive in September. Okay, and then finally, the last deck that I purchased in September, simply because I had an issue of FOMO. Oh boy, and the Zombie Tarot is, as I understand it, by the same company. And I wasn't really interested in this at first. I watched a couple of walkthroughs and then saw that it was out of stock on Amazon, and someone had said that, hey, I think it's going out of print. So I thought that I should get it because, you know, I don't want to miss out. Anyways, it's very cool how it comes. It comes with looking like a little recipe box. And if we just take a quick look at these, they are interesting. They're very interesting cards. I've heard people talk about them. You know, the lovely Lady Knight of Avalon did a review of this. She actually trimmed hers down to the artwork, and the artwork really pops when you do that. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that or not. I'm not crazy about the fact that the artwork goes into the borders, so if you chop the borders off, then you lose it. But I'm gonna just sort of delay that decision until I get a chance to really work with this deck. It's very clever, very clever in its artwork. Yeah, this one, if that's not judgment, I don't know what is in today's world. Anyways, I'm not going to go through that whole thing, but so I did purchase this. It was $16. It's not like it was a huge investment, but I thought I would get that, but rather than sort of, you know, regret purchasing it later. Okay, so those were the decks that arrived in September. I know it seems like a lot, and I do have a few that I have on order that aren't expected to arrive for another month or so. The Wandering Oracle, the creator of the Marshmallow Marseille, has Tarot Sirène coming, which is a water-based or mermaid-based Marseille deck. I did back that one, so that one is coming maybe by the end of this month, I'm not sure. But I backed that a couple of months ago. I also had FOMO on the Muse Tarot. And I ended up ordering that one sort of last minute this month. So that probably won't arrive until for another month or again. Also by Chris Ann of the Muse Tarot, the Light Seers deck. So I did not, unfortunately, see the indie version and order that in time. I also missed it when she reopened, so I did pre-order the mass market edition, which I think doesn't come until December or January. So those ones are coming. I think that's it. I have a feeling that there's one more. In any case, I am planning very much on 2020 being a depth year for me. So I'm hoping, I won't say that I won't order any decks, but just because my willpower and whatnot, and I don't want to set myself up for failure. So I won't say that I won't order any decks in 2020, but in 2020 I am going to be just focusing on working through all the decks that I do have. And yeah, and then so for the, since I brought it out already, I did receive my Solabusca Tarot. I did receive this in, I think it was October already, so not September. So maybe I'm a little bit premature about talking about this, but I do want to say just one thing. So I did order this. I got it. I've done a walkthrough. I absolutely adore this deck. It does have a book that comes with it, which is a little bit disappointing. Sorry, my phone cut out. The book is a little bit disappointing because I was hoping to learn a little bit more about each card, and it does give you a little blurb, but nothing really about actually working with this deck. And so a few people have talked about this and I do want this to be a learning deck. I don't want it to be just to sit on the shelf and look pretty deck. I think I've talked about, maybe I have, I'm not sure, that I've been really drawn to the ancient decks, especially the ancient Italian decks. I can trace my family back to Roman times, so maybe this is why I'm being so drawn to this type of artwork. But and a couple of people mentioned the book that was made specifically for this deck called The Game of Saturn. I want to say it was first Practical Mystic Carol, I think, that commented and said that was really going to be a focus for her as well. And so I did end up ordering it. So it arrives maybe in the next week, and I'm fully planning on working with that book and this deck in the next year. So that's sort of some of my plans. So what else have I been working on? Since I haven't been doing a ton of readings, although I haven't been doing a ton of readings, I have been doing a lot of studying. So I've been watching quite a few videos. I found Tarot Oracle. Someone happened to mention him on a Facebook group, and I'm very glad that I found him. By the way, if you are interested in the Solabusca Tarot or have it, he mentioned in one of his videos that he's actually planning on coming out with a course for it as well, talking about how he uses this deck to read. So maybe something to check out if you're interested. But I've been sort of watching some of his videos, some of his instructional videos, and have learned quite a bit. Everything from sort of the shuffling to actually working through with some of the suits in the decks and what they sort of mean. So, and how he does his readings and how he learns. So I actually, when I was talking about doing exercises with my zombie tarot, I was definitely doing some of his movie spreads. So that he's been a great source of inspiration. The other great source of inspiration for me has been Dusty White's House of White. Maybe the easiest way to learn tarot ever, I think, is what his podcast is called. And the podcasts I listen to it on my way to work, kind of thing, on Spotify, but he also has the videos on YouTube, and has written a couple of books. So I have worked again through some of the exercises that he provides. I really like the fact that he doesn't prefer you to memorize keywords or memorize the meaning of the specific card. I do like, he's probably not everyone's cup of tea. The way that he speaks, I guess some people can be off-put by it. I try to ignore that kind of stuff though, and just sort of listen to his story. He definitely has a lot of experience, and And his podcasts are not just by him, but by some of his students who have now gone on to become successful tarot readers, professional tarot readers, and instructors as well. And I do like the results that I have gotten with some of his exercises. So, and just getting to know the tarot and getting to know what the cards are about. And I do like, in particular, one of the biggest things that I have learned from him is that the art changes the meanings of the card. So if you're using an RWS deck and you're looking at the Six of Swords and it's showing, the man rowing the wife and kid across waters, from troubled waters to calmer waters, and then you look at the Six of Swords in a different deck that maybe shows only one person in the boat, or maybe no one in the boat, the meaning does slightly change. Just showing, based on the artwork. So that's something interesting that I've been thinking about and learning about. And yeah, so that's those two. And then a couple of books that I've been reading, I won't show you them because I have them on my iPad, which is the Your Tarot Court by Ethany Dawn. And so reading about the court cards there. And then also Holistic Tarot by Benabel Wen. So those two have been both great resources as well. And haven't by any, the Holistic Tarot is just a massive book, so I haven't gotten anywhere close to even a quarter of the way through. I'm not sure that it's a book that you're supposed to start from page 1 and work your way all the way through, but so far that's kind of what I've been doing. I know it's more of a reference, and you're meant more to sort of read the different sections depending on what you're particularly looking for at the time. But as a starter, I'm just kind of going through and reading it as it goes. So then I'll know what's there, and I can read particular sections again when I know if I'm looking for something in particular. What else have I been doing? I have a new tarot room that's coming. Or tarot and craft room, which is where I'm sitting right now. Actually, one of my kids, spoken about in my previous episode. We've shuffled some of the kids around, and I now have the smallest room as my craft room / tarot room / bedroom when my other half snores too much. And so I'm still working on getting that worked up. Once I sort of get everything settled, then maybe I'll do a bit of a craft room tour. But yeah, so that's been occupying quite a bit of my spare time. And what else? The other thing that I've been doing, also reading a book, is related to my health, and I do suffer from chronic migraines, and so I bought this book. Medications just aren't really cutting it for me, unfortunately, and so I did buy this book called The Migraine Relief Diet, and hopefully trying to approach this from a diet perspective. And so I've been spending some time reading this book and looking into the different recipes and what the elimination diet is all about, and hopefully it will provide me with some relief. But that's the other thing that has been occupying my time in the month of September. Sorry, I know it's been a really long one, guys. I think if you're still with me, thank you so much. Again, I never expected to have one subscriber, never mind over 100. And so thank you so much to everyone. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, then please, by all means, do, if you like my content. And I'll come back next time. I think my next video will be talking about the art history tarot. I might do that into sort of phases, but we'll see. I'm not 100% sure. But until next time, my friends, tarot your truth. I hope you are having a wonderful early fall, and that you're not suffering too much from all the sicknesses that seem to be starting to go around. Until next time, my friends, tarot your truth.